Hi, this is Brian, back with another optimized video. Today, we're going to talk about how to optimize your parenting. So we've got a lot of different categories you can optimize, from the mental toughness and habits and leadership and productivity. A lot of individual things. We did business in the last session. But what about parenting? It's not enough to be energized and to show up powerfully in our work. We want to nail all of our big three: energy, work, and love. So we also have a relationships class that maybe I'll do that one next, in which my wife and I share some of our thoughts on how to optimize your love in intimate relationships. For parenting, we have two 101 classes and then a collection of notes and plus ones. My wife teaches Mamahood 101. I wasn't qualified to teach that class, so she came in and shared her wisdom on how to celebrate motherhood, the most creative work of your life. She shares her 10 big ideas, and she is an awesome mama, and we've been told awesome teacher as well. Then I share my thoughts in Fatherhood 101, how to win Dad of the Year while doing your life's work. Again, prioritizing not just your energy and your work, but also your love. And making that something that, although not celebrated externally, no one knows the time we spend with our kids relative to how much our business grew last year or whatever. So we've got to make sure we have the wisdom and the self-mastery to bring our best selves to our love as well. So we'll get to some more details on that. Here are some of the Philosophers Notes that have most impacted me as a father, and to some extent us, Alexandra and I, although she has read. You think I read a lot? You should see how much she reads. It's astonishing. So she's got her own collection, and I actually didn't feature some of the most impactful books I've read. I read a book called Parenting from the Inside Out by Dan Siegel years before we had our first kid, Emerson. And I also read a book called Hold On to Your Kids. I forget the authors right now, but Hold On to Your Kids, about the fact that your kids are only going to have one North Star. You don't want it to be their peers and culture. You want it to be you. Hold on to your kids and properly connect them to our culture, etc. That book changed my life, influenced my parenting before I even had Emerson. And then, the reality is, and we'll talk about this actually, we'll go straight there. Let's go to grit. No, I'll take my time. So the number one book that has most impacted me in my parenting style is Carol Dweck's Self-Theories. Carol Dweck, and she's known for her book called Mindset, which we have here. She's a brilliant, brilliant woman and researcher. So I read the more academic-oriented book called Self-Theories. And in Self-Theories, she unpacks some of the same ideas. It was written before Mindset, so it's a bit more granular and unformed in some ways than Mindset, but awesome. She talks about growth versus fixed mindsets. And highly recommend you check this out. As always, we've got a Philosopher's Note in which I pull out my favorite big ideas, 6 pages, etc. She used to call the fixed mindset entity and the growth incremental, right? And then she kind of shaped it a little bit more. But there's some big ideas in there that I think you'll really enjoy. I hope you get as much out of it as I did. So that's at the top slot. It's unbelievably important that we help our kids cultivate a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. Now, I was raised in a family with an alcoholic father and a wonderful yet anxious mom. Love you, Mom. Father passed away. I was raised to have a fixed mindset. I needed to be kind of perfect all the time in order to feel like everything was okay. Not helpful for doing things that are really going to push us. We want to have a growth mindset. We want to embrace the inevitable challenges of life and know that if we put in the effort, we can get better. And we don't need to come home with a, straight A report card every single time with outstanding behavior. I've never shared this, but I remember once I got straight A's. I was that guy. But I got 1 S in my conduct, and it's on the refrigerator. And that's the thing my dad comes and tells me about. And I can remember that 40 years after it happened, So we are being influenced by our parents moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment. And by extension, we were as kids. And by extension, we are impacting our kids moment to moment to moment to moment, which leads us to the note on grit by Angela Duckworth. Now, Duckworth is out of the University of Pennsylvania, and her book is brilliant. Highly recommend it for 1,000 reasons. And she talks about parenting. In one section, she's got how to help your kids create more grit. It's one of the best sections I've read on parenting. Highly recommend, if you have the book, flip open to that chapter. Who says you got to read a book from page 1 till the end? Go to this part of the book. Read it. It's unbelievably powerful. And here's my distillation in the Philosopher's Note. Tons of things we can talk about here. But she says, author and activist James Baldwin once put it this way: children have never been very good at listening to their elders, but they have never failed to imitate them. Kids aren't listening to us. I got 2 kids, 9 and 4.5, as I share this. It's humbling to see how much they're like my wife and I. Boom. Let's be the type of people that we want them to become, because they're watching every single moment and they're imitating every single moment. As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, who you are and what you do speaks so loudly, I cannot hear what you say. You can say all the right things, obviously, but if you're not doing those things, good luck raising the type of kids you want. Now, Angela takes that and applies it to grit, and she says this: indeed, over the last 40 years, study after carefully designed study has found that the children of psychologically wise parents fare better than children raised in any other kind of household. Which is why, when you look at optimize in all the different categories, you want to be a great parent? Be a great human being. Have mental toughness. Have an ability to create habits, installing, deleting. Get good nights of sleep. Have a clear purpose. Have the ability to focus and set goals and be productive. Be a good person, a wise, psychologically wise individual, and you will be a great parent. I mean, really, it is that simple. You'll have your challenges, but you'll show up powerfully, etc. She also talks about a style of parenting called wise parenting. Wise parents, she tells us, and I will zoom in here, are both, I'm paraphrasing, warm and demanding. So you can be really have high standards and be mean-spirited about it. Not what we're looking for. You want to hold high standards and be warm and be supportive. Alternatively, you could not have high standards at all. You don't create healthy boundaries. You're super warm, but you don't create healthy boundaries. That's not good. Wise parenting involves both high standards, clear boundaries of appropriate, inappropriate behavior, and deep, deep warmth. Wise parenting. She talks about it more, obviously. Check it out. And did you know that the Latin root of the word parenting, it literally means to bring forth. The word parent means to bring forth. That's our job as parents, to bring forth the best, most heroic potential within our kids. Again, one of the biggest challenges, that in relationships, for me, work, relatively speaking, easy. So relationships, with my wife, adore my wife. We have challenges like any partners do. And of course, with our children. I mean, this is, nothing's harder and more challenging than showing up powerfully in our most intimate relationships. So we've got self-theories in Mindset by Carol Dweck to get our minds right. Then we've got grit and wise parenting and being the change. Then we've got William Damon, the world's leading scholar on moral development. So this book, The Path to Purpose, is all about how young people find their calling in life. You want to help your kids become the best, most heroic versions of themselves, to bring forth their potential? I certainly do. Well, here's your leading scholar out of Stanford on how to help them do that. The Path to Purpose. Check it out. Then, more recently, over the last couple of years, I've absolutely fallen in love with Mr. Rogers. I watched the documentary on him. I highly recommend. And then I bought all of his books. They're really short, unbelievably just good wisdom, and just a good man. He's an individual whose presence inspires me, and who I am committed to embodying more and more in my own parenting. So we've got The World According to Mr. Rogers, important things to remember, great wisdom, many ways to say I love you, wisdom for parents and children from Mr. Rogers, and You Are Special, words of wisdom for all ages from a beloved neighbor. God bless Mr. Rogers. His ministry, by the way, he was an ordained minister, as you may know if you watch the documentary. His ministry was to help kids connect to their best selves, to understand and integrate their emotions, and to teach them, self-compassion and common humanity and other important things. What a good human being who serves so heroically. We've got Mindset by Carol Dweck. Lanny Basham, gold medal winning Olympic rifle shooter, wrote a great book on how to parent champions. You want to know how to show up with your kids in sports? Here you go. What every parent should know about the mental game. Kind of old school, not particularly popular commercially, but great book. I love Lanny. Check out our notes on With Winning in Mind as well. Just click on the author's name, by the way, and you'll get access to all the other books that they've written and learn more about them, etc. And then Marshall Rosenberg, Nonviolent Communication. Super powerful ideas in here in terms of communicating effectively, of course. I think there's a better title for this potentially rather than nonviolent communication, just really effective communication. Beautiful stuff, over 1 million copies sold. And then John Gottman. Now this is the 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work is a book, as it would indicate by the title, for marriages, but he's got a ton of ideas in there for any relationship. One of the big ideas I got out of this that we feature in the plus ones, let's see if we can find it actually, is responding to bids. So at any given moment in a relationship, someone may be offering a bid for your attention. So he, again, uses it in the context of a marital relationship. We'll talk about this in the category on relationships. And his research has shown, and he can measure people and how they're interacting with one another. And then in like 15 or 20 minutes, he can predict with 90% accuracy which couple will get divorced and which one won't. And one of the variables is how they respond to bids, verbal and nonverbal. So for example, when a spouse says to their partner, hey, can you pick up some fill in the blank at the grocery store? And if you ignore that request, or even more germane, they start saying something to you and you're looking at your phone. They're making a bid for your attention. Hey, honey, fill in the blank. And you're staring at your phone. That was a bid that you ignored. You do that enough times and you erode the quality of the relationship. And Gottman says it's not the big romantic excursions that dictate whether a relationship will endure or not. It's those little micro moments, those little tiny bids that are either answered or not. And we want to get really, really good at responding to those bids, not just from our spouses or significant others or colleagues for that matter, but our kids. Our kids are constantly making bids of us. And we want to become mindful of that and then stop doing what we're doing if we can. Sometimes it's appropriate to say, of course, hey, let's talk about that in a moment. I really want to hear what you have to say. And I'm right in the middle of finishing something. But the moment I'm done, I'm going to come and we're going to connect on what's so important to you. But oftentimes it's not important what we're doing. We're just distracted and choosing not to pay attention to our kids' bids. Not a good idea. Those little micro moments are eroding that relationship and we want to deal with it. Now, what's most exciting for me about this is in our Heroic app that we're building, and you can learn more at heroic.us. We'll be telling you a lot more about this in the new year. We're launching in April. We're going to help you move from theory to practice and set targets for yourself every single day that you're committed to hitting in your energy, your work, and your love. So imagine committing in the morning and saying to yourself, I'm committed to responding to bids from, for me, it would be Alexandra, from Emerson, from Eleanor, and I commit right now to responding to their bids, right? Boom. And we're going to have a little target icon that you'll commit to, get a little haptic response. Designed by MetaLab, the same company that designed Tinder and Slack and some other great companies. Oh, that's my alarm. I'm thinking I got something going on. I've got a call with Cal Newport coming up in a few minutes, and I've got a song we licensed for Heroic playing. Unstoppable by The Score, which is performing live at our Heroic launch party for over 1,000 of our investors. Can't wait. Longer chat. So, wrapping this up, our app will allow you and encourage you to commit to doing something that's consistent with your best self. And then when you do it, you pick the app up again and you swipe and you hit it. Almost like a bowstring. You set the target and then boom, you hit it. Yep, I responded to a bid. And we'll count how many times you've responded to bids. You'll have a streak of days in a row, all kinds of cool stuff to help you operationalize virtue and be the best version of yourself, not once in a while, but consistently, etc. That was a long aside. Bunch of other notes to help us, actually a couple other notes on parenting, and then a ton of plus ones. Plus ones have been a great way for me to share some of this wisdom that I didn't cover in the notes. So we have a ton of them, and a lot of them feature Emerson. Eleanor hasn't actually been in anything yet. She was too little before. Here's one, Mr. Rogers, me and Emerson, I like you. Just the way you are, buddy. Kids, we have been told, love watching plus ones with Emerson, by the way. It's a way to get your kids plugged into this wisdom, which is super fun and sweet. We've got a collection of notes where he makes appearances. We talk about Stoicism all the time. His middle name is Aurelius, Emerson Aurelius Johnson. We've got something called the I love you game. So this is I love you in sign language, right? So we've got this game that we play that a lot of people in our community play where we literally we'll just be cruising around the house, whatever, and then we'll be reach into our pocket and, oh, I found something. We'll pull it out and go, boom, I love you. And it's been the sweetest thing to do with Emerson, with Eleanor, and to see other members of our communities doing it. We also have fist bumps that end in I love you. Very important plus ones. We've got one up here that I saw. Here's the relationship bid math I was talking about. We talk about that a few times, actually. Where was that one up here? Where was it? Oh, I don't remember. Repairing relationships. This is a big idea. When you inevitably fall short of your standards, and Dan Siegel inspired me in his book. This is a neuroscientist, Harvard MD, super beautiful spiritual guy, who would flip his lid. His prefrontal cortex would go offline and he'd be a gremlin. Lizard brain, not the guy he wanted to be. Empowered me to realize I'm not alone. I'm not the only guy that does that. Dads, you're not the only dads out there doing. Moms, we're not alone. But we got to repair it. After you make that mistake, you go say, I'm sorry. You repair the relationship. I made a mistake when I just got more upset than I needed to, and I'm really, really sorry about that, and I'm committed to doing better. And then you walk through what may have led to that and how you're committed to being different, and you model the thing that you hope your kids will do as they get older. So there you go. We didn't talk a lot about Fatherhood 101, but again, 10 big ideas in which we unpack some of these ideas in a 60-minute class. So check that out. I hope you enjoy. Got to go. I'm going to talk to, as I said, got a call with Cal, who we feature in Productivity 101. Deep Work. If you haven't read Deep Work yet, get on that. Deep Work is so good. Such a good book. All of Cal's books are great. Let's give Cal a quick shout out right now. Cal's one of my favorite writers and thinkers. Brilliant guy. PhD out of, we talk about him in Conquering Digital Addiction as well. He taught a class with us on his book, Digital Minimalism. So we've featured, where are we? It's still loading. Country Living. We'll get to that another time. Cal's awesome. So are you. Hope you enjoyed this overview and look forward to sharing more with you soon. Let's go optimize every aspect of our lives to show up as powerfully as we can in our energy, our work, and our love. More soon. See ya.